Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, live from the North Jersey studios on this fabulous Thursday evening, July 20th, 2017. Welcome to episode number 51, as I'm doing with my hands in front of the camera here, number 51 of TNC, of the Nico Chronicles. As always, I am your host, the one, the only, Nico Saraceno. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to a very special edition of Nico Chronicles. In just over 10 minutes, I'll be joined by a very special guest. I love using the word special, as you guys can tell. Brian Dailey, the current Vice President of Sports Digital Media at Showtime Networks, or at Showtime for short, you could say, will be joining us, talk about his life a little bit. His thoughts, I'm really interested in listening to his thoughts on the Mayweather-McGregor fight. He's had a lot of access to that, as I've seen via social media, and just kind of pick his brain a little bit, see what his thoughts are. So that'll be in just about 10 minutes. Around 9-10 p.m. he'll be joining us. But thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you want to check us out via social media, you can see us at facebook.com/TheNicoChronicles. We are streaming live via the Facebook Live streaming service. We're also on thenicochronicles.wix.com. You can catch the stream through Wix. Or, of course, you can always call the stream powered by Zeno Live at 701-801-2251. So, a lot to discuss tonight. A lot of things trending as of late. First of all, early this afternoon, we all received the tragic news that Chester Bennington, lead singer of the famous worldwide phenomenon band, I should say, Linkin Park, tragically passed away at the age of 41. Now, I don't think we have the full details yet from the articles I've seen. However, officials do believe it was a suicide. So very sad news. And Linkin Park was extremely successful, obviously releasing 7 albums. They were set to go on tour, actually, in a week from now, July 27th. I had some people on social media down in Florida who were set to see him in West Palm Beach. And just very unfortunate to hear the news. And it's crazy because he was really good friends with Chris Cornell. You guys remember the singer that passed away a couple of months ago. And it's crazy because he actually died on Chris's birthday. So, obviously I don't know if that's a coincidence. Whatever the case was, I don't want to speculate, but it's an interesting detail. But obviously the Linkin Park, the group themselves, had a number of successful songs. I think my favorite though, and the one that I know the best, is Numb. Specifically, although it's not the original, Numb itself, the original version is great, but the one I listened to the most was the remix. Although people may be skeptical about remixes, but I listened to the remix featuring Jay-Z, which added a bit of extra flair for my taste, which was good. So, they had a lot of hits, and it was, my social media was just flooded with all of these comments. That's actually how I found out. Before I saw an actual news item, I saw all these social media posts, specifically on Facebook. So, very sad news. Very sad news if you're an LP fan. And also going on today was O.J. Simpson's parole hearing in Nevada. And the results are in, guys. After being convicted of robbery and kidnapping in 2008, O.J. Simpson has been granted parole. So for those of you guys doing the math, he did serve 9 years. 9 years out of the full 33-year sentence. He was convicted of robbery and kidnapping of a memorabilia dealer in a hotel room, actually. I believe it was in Las Vegas. And it's interesting because the sports memorabilia dealer that he robbed is reportedly a friend of him. And this guy's testimony, originally in 2008, partially contributed to OJ going away. Now, this guy spoke today saying I think he served his time. If he were to get out tomorrow, for example, and he called me for a ride, I wouldn't hesitate to pick him up. So it's interesting how this guy kind of flipped the switch, flipped his viewpoint. I guess he thinks he did his time after 9 years. But it was an interesting turn of events there. So OJ could be released as early as October 1st. So we'll see what happens with that. And I found out how to believe also, very shocking news, that OJ, he recently turned 70. It was a couple weeks ago. So you kind of forget that he's been around for a while, the former NFL legend, so to speak. And speaking of his NFL career, I was reading a report earlier today that due to the NFL pension rules, I guess, that were in place during the 80s, even when he was in prison these last 8 years, OJ collected, via the pension, the NFL pension, over $600,000. I heard a lot of people saying, oh, he probably does not have many funds left, with everything going on. But he's got $600K, over $600K. His money, he's the only one that can touch that. And it just accumulated. Because I believe he collected at 52, but now he's 70. It was either 52 or 55 he collected the pension. He's now 70 years old, well over that mark, and the money just continued to build. So, pretty insane. It's pretty insane that how that happens. I don't have the exact formula in front of me, to be honest, but I just thought that was an interesting report that one of the outlets put out. So we'll see what happens October 1st. He's reportedly going to be staying in Florida,
Wait a moment.
Or he wants to stay in Florida, reportedly. So we'll see. We shall see what happens. As I'm having a bit of a software issue here that you guys heard in the background. I'm just going to reconnect and connect once again of the broadcast here. But yeah, O.J. Simpson released on parole after 9 years. Very interesting.
Please wait a moment.
Very interesting point. Very interesting. Very interesting development, I should say. So that was also going on at the same time as the rest of this development. Not to mention, Derrick Rose is in talks with the Cleveland Cavaliers, reportedly in serious talks with the Cleveland Cavaliers about signing a 1-year deal. So that's going to be interesting if D. Rose, who's been plagued with ankle injuries and several other injuries, going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because the Cavaliers are in some very serious need of firepower, because Golden State is not getting much weaker, barring injuries. They re-signed Andre Iguodala, they signed Nick Young to a 1-year deal, so they're in it to win it. I mean, every year for them is a contending season, quite frankly. So, we'll see what happens. The NBA, congratulations to the LA Lakers for being Summer League champs. Lonzo Ball, who didn't even play the last game of the Summer League, was the MVP with his triple-double numbers. So congrats to him. But again, let's keep in mind that that is not NBA competition. I mean, a lot of them are college stars and whatnot, but you cannot compare the level of competition there versus the NBA regular season. So it's going to be definitely worth a watch to see if his play can translate to the regular season. Will LeBron go there in 2018? Will Paul George join him in 2018? Will he leave the Thunder after that, signing that 1-year deal? It depends how the Thunder do. It depends how LeBron and the Cavs do. You got to assume if either of those teams win the championship, perhaps that changes the entire landscape, so to speak. So a lot of storylines. So as many may have anticipated, this summer is not going to be as slow sports-wise. Although there's no NBA, which I love passionately. I love NBA with a passion. There is baseball, which I respect, although it's not at the top of my list. NFL, due to kick off with training camp in August, in the Hall of Fame game, end of August, I believe. So, a lot to look forward to, and of course, once Brian joins me, we'll be talking the Mayweather-McGregor fight, which is official countdown 37 days away from now. Saturday, August 26th, 9 p.m. is the official card on Showtime at the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada, which is just outside of Las Vegas. It's very interesting because the tickets officially go on sale this Monday, the 24th, via Ticketmaster. Take a look at the retail for these, okay? Tickets are believed to start at $500 with a max of 10 grand. Okay, now this fight's being hosted by Mayweather Productions, and that's obviously pretty steep. $500 though, I mean, I don't know how good of a seat that can get you. Is it nosebleed seats? I'm assuming. This is like a 20,000 seat arena, the T-Mobile Arena. So, but still, the one positive out of paying this money is that you could say you were there. I personally, I don't know if I could shell out that much cash. I don't have extra money at that level just lying around, unfortunately, but for those of you who have extra disposable income, I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's going to be hard to get those tickets, but if you can get those tickets, go for it. Because look at the matchup here. Obviously, Mayweather 49-0. McGregor hasn't boxed professionally since the age of 16. And we look at his record here. 21-3 in MMA, mixed martial arts. 9-1 in the UFC. Okay? He holds world championships in 2 weight classes, which is impressive. He is the notorious Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. You know, we've had all these promos, all these press conferences in LA, I was going to say Tokyo, LA, Toronto, Brooklyn, London. You know, I believe it's 4 locations in a span of a week. Pretty crazy. So, it's definitely a big moneymaker, to say the least. Mayweather predicted to make 70 to 75% of that total purse, which is likely close to $400 million. He's a 21-year boxing vet. He's earned that right. And on the other hand, McGregor, he's set to make the remaining 25% plus, which is going to be over $100 million, because the purse is predicted to make close to $400 million. Although the Pacquiao fight, you look at the Pacquiao fight, it made $455 million total. Okay, this fight is set to surpass that. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. You know, a lot of, as I said, a lot of storylines are set to lead up to this. But without further ado, guys, joining me now is the current VP, the current Vice President of Sports Digital Media at Showtime. He's the one, the only Brian Dailey. Hey Brian, good evening. Thanks so much for joining me. How you doing?
Nico, how you doing? And thank you for the nice intro there.
Of course. I'm doing well. How are you feeling? You sound a bit under the weather on your end. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. We're a little later here. We're 9 o'clock on the East Coast, so just settling in. Long day. Been a series of long days, a couple of long weeks here with everything going on, but we're doing good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Before I get into that about your hectic schedule with everything going on surrounding this fight, I want to start by first asking you. You've had quite a path to get here, Brian. I mean, going through your resume has been very impressive. You've done a lot of work at ESPN the magazine, ESPN New York. You've had a variety of different positions there. So, if you could you just kind of just describe the path that you took to kind of get to where you are today? Because I'm sure it's a pretty interesting journey that you've taken.
Sure. Yeah, we got started back in 2000. Actually, 99. I interned with ESPN magazine, which at the time was just getting going. So it was great internship in that I was able to do a lot of things that I think typical internship doesn't offer, just because they needed all hands on deck, and I got thrust into a lot of things, met a lot of great people through that experience, and was able to turn that into a job coming out of school the following year. So started with the magazine, and that was a great little run there. And then ESPN.com moved from Seattle to New York a couple of years later and merged with the magazine. So I was lucky enough to be at the forefront of kind of the digital revolution at ESPN. And they were pairing magazine with .com, the sales side, and marketing, which was where I was.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, moved over to our video games business, and we had a licensing division where we were branding ESPN on a lot of different things. I was fortunate enough to be in the video games area, and we were working with 2K at the time, and things went really well with them. We branded a line of ESPN video games that I was lucky enough to work on and be a part of that marketing. And we had some real success with our NFL game, which then caught the attention of EA, and we started talking with them once our deal expired with 2K. Before I knew it, we had a 15-year, $800 million partnership with EA Sports, and
wow.
Was lucky enough to be a part of that. So that was great, and that was everything from integrating the brand and our assets into those games, and then also marketing the EA games across the ESPN universe. So that was a lot of fun. We were challenged to come up with new, innovative ideas. One of which was the Madden cover vote, which was turning the Madden cover over to fans. So I was a part of that. That was a great experience, and we did that for a bunch of years. And at that time, also, aside from gaming, the consoles also became involved in content, and ultimately became distribution platforms for ESPN. So was involved with the Xbox and Sony deals. So I found myself kind of immersed in everything digital that was going on with ESPN, some of our bigger partnerships. And by that time, I had been there, I guess it was about 13 years, and the Showtime opportunity came about, and that was to head over there and head up their digital for sports. And it was a great opportunity. I met with Steven Espinoza, who we hit it off, and wound up taking that job, and it's just been a crazy ride since, amazing ride since. So that's kind of the quick cliff notes on how I got to today.
Huh. Very, very interesting. So if you had to, since your time here at Showtime, what do you think's been, what's been your favorite, or I guess most exciting part of the job thus far for you that's really stood out?
A couple of things. I think, coming from a big organization like ESPN, where, you're a spoke in the wheel, it's great, and it's such a massive product, to where it's a much smaller, nimble operation at Showtime. So, to me, it's feeling like my fingerprints are on everything we're doing and everything that's touching our fans and our consumers, everything from the content that we're deciding to make, whether that be on linear or digital, to the fights that are being made. That's not my decision, but being in on that is a lot of fun. The documentaries and the subjects that we've chosen to partner with, that's been great. On the boxing side, obviously Mayweather-Pacquiao, I thought we would never top that, and here we sit talking today. I think we might just do that. So that's pretty amazing. On the documentary side, being able to work with Kobe Bryant and Ben Simmons and Victor Cruz, those have all been great projects. For me, most recently working with Coach Hurley and St. Anthony on the 6-part documentary that we did this past season. I was very involved in that, so that was a great project. So I can't single out one particular thing that's been great. The beautiful thing about my job, and I think the best thing, is that it's ever changing. So, new projects come and go, so it always, feels fresh and like I'm working on something new every couple of months.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the Coach Hurley documentary, because obviously he's had such a reputation when it comes to basketball, and especially in the state of New Jersey. But for like such a large project like that, Brian, how long does the entire process itself take for it to be split out into like a 6-part series like that? How long was the entire product itself? I would assume it was months and months at a time, right? Or how did you guys break that up?
Yeah, we identified that project in the summer prior to the season. So I would say it was probably June or July. We met with Coach, and we had an idea that this was probably going to be his biggest challenge yet in terms of keeping the school open. So we, I guess, determined that was greenlit probably in August or September. And then we embedded with the team right away in October and stuck with them the entire season. So,
wow.
You're kind of looking at an 8-month process. Again, we started shooting those guys in October. Our first episode were released, I believe it was beginning of February. So we had a little bit of time to catch those backstories, figure out what our, first 1 or 2 episodes were going to be, who our main characters were, what we had to tell historically about the school and Coach. And then the idea was eventually we would catch up in real time to the school, or to the season rather,
right?
Which we wound up doing, come episode 5 and then ultimately 6, which, in real time we covered, which was the verdict of the closing of the school. So it was pretty cool to attach to something that was real-time news, and to have followed it the whole way, and then to be able to be a part of that news when it happened and release that final part. We couldn't have planned it any better. That was the hope. We hope the outcome was different than it was, but in terms of timing and story, we caught it perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys could not have timed that out any better. So that's pretty interesting how that worked out. But now I want to get to the nitty gritty, I guess. The obvious point here. 37 days away from arguably the biggest fight ever, at least purse wise, as I said earlier. I think the projection, it's the fight they're predicting, I think, just under 400 million. I read in some reports, some are saying over, but whatever the case may be, this is one of the most entertaining lead-ups to a match that I've seen since the Pacquiao fight. I want to get your thoughts, Brian, on this match itself. I know you've gone. I've seen some social media posts of you. I know you've gone to some, if not all, of the press conferences that they had leading up to this fight over the past. I guess the last one was about last week or so. You've been to that.
Yeah, we finished up in London on Friday.
Yeah, so everyone, or a lot of people have seen the highlights, obviously. Very, very entertaining. A lot of storylines drawing from it. So what are your thoughts on the fight itself? Is it do you believe it's going to live up to the hype that everyone is drawing it out to be?
I don't know. I sure hope so. You got people taking all kinds of angles and opinions on it. I think Conor's got his work cut out for him. The idea that I know he has a boxing background, but to pick it up and train for 10 weeks and be able to step in a ring and compete against a guy that some of the all of the best boxers of this past generation, to try and do something that those boxers could not do, is a real tall order. But there's people who believe that McGregor is possibly a once in a generation type talent, and if you believe that, then who's to say maybe he can't dedicate himself and get in there. And boxing, it's puncher's chance. There's that cliche for a reason. But the counter to that is Mayweather is probably the greatest defensive fighter of all time. So to have a puncher's chance, you got to be in there against someone that you could potentially hit. And the question is, could he potentially, lay a good glove on Mayweather? And I don't know. I think just the notion of it is intriguing enough, I think, for most people to want to see it. I think the other piece of that is just the spectacle that it's going to be. I think we got a taste of that last week, and we'll continue to see that through All Access in the coming weeks. We have 4 episodes of that, so we're going to take you deep into each camp and kind of build it back up again, and then we're going to get to fight week, and some of what we saw last week, we're gonna see that again, but probably on another level. So to answer your question, yeah, sure, he's got a shot, and I think if you look at the odds, they've come down drastically since they opened in Vegas. So bookmakers are giving him more and more of a shot, and you got some analysts who firmly believe he has a shot. So yeah, I definitely think so. But again, he's in there with one of the greatest to ever do it. So it's a tall order, but in my opinion, he's already won. Just getting the fight and making what will be probably north of 9 figures and not having to ever fight again if he chooses to do that. I think he's won. And if he loses, he could always say, look, I got the fight. I fought the best. I gave it a shot, and I don't think anybody's gonna be mad at him for that. At least they shouldn't.
No, absolutely not. And it's just interesting because essentially both of them benefit no matter the result. Even McGregor, I remember in one of the press conferences, I think he mentioned that just from this fight alone, since he's going to be making upwards of 100 million or somewhere around there, he's just about like tripling his net worth just to step in the ring, it's like a crazy thing for someone to just be getting that sort of massive payday no matter the result. I think that's pretty incredible within itself too. So definitely a lot of money on the line. But I mean, in your eyes, with Mayweather, as you said, being such a defensive fighter, how many rounds do you envision this going?
Well, I definitely see it going more than 5 rounds. I definitely see that. I think there's going to be, in the beginning, an adjustment period. When this is typical of most Floyd fights, where he'll take a couple rounds to figure his opponent out, check out the tendency, see how that fighter might react to different things. So I think that's common with Floyd, and then you couple that with what's going to be a very unorthodox approach from Gregor. So I think you definitely are going to get a couple rounds where I think Floyd feels it out. Unless Conor comes out super aggressive and puts himself in a really vulnerable spot where, Floyd catches him with something because he's coming out super aggressive. Floyd is a really good counter puncher. He's a master at catching guys out of position. And, there's a decent chance if Conor comes out aggressive and not being a boxer, he could find himself very vulnerable. But I do think it'll go north of 5, and then the question is, endurance. Conor not being in this type of fight before. He has gassed in MMA fights or UFC fights before, so that's been one knock on him. So I don't know. Once we go north of 5, what could happen? But I think we'll definitely see more than 5 rounds, and where it goes from there, we'll see. I don't know.
Ooh, I cannot wait. 37 days away. And Brian, you mentioned before you guys were going to release some footage with Showtime to kind of lead up to that fight. Any idea of when those promotional videos are going to be released?
Yeah, so we'll have our 4-part Emmy Award-winning All Access series. That'll premiere next Friday night on Showtime, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So those will be half-hour episodes. We'll bring you 4 of those leading up to fight week. And then as far as our digital coverage goes, we got a bunch of stuff planned by way of camp assets and just short form pieces that I think will get fans excited and keep the the anticipation building. And then once we get into fight week, we'll be doing a live show every day from Vegas, live streaming across all of Showtime social platforms. UFC will get going with their embedded series following Conor fight week, which will be great. So we got a ton going on, and then obviously in fight week you have the press conferences, the weigh-in. We'll do fighter arrivals on Tuesday. So look, anyone who's into this is certainly going to be fulfilled with as much content as they want to consume to enjoy it.
So starting next Friday, July 28th, 10 p.m., strap in because the Mayweather-McGregor promotions are only getting started. A lot going to be heating up in these next 37 days. Brian, thank you so much for joining me, shedding some light on the fights, and I'll be looking forward to those specials. It's gonna be a fun ride, and I hope you enjoy it because it's gonna be pretty hectic for you, but I'm sure it's gonna be pretty rewarding too. So good luck and thanks so much.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm not gonna let you off the hook here. What do you got come August 26th? What's your prediction?
Oh, that's a tough one there. I'm gonna have to say, just because of all the information that I have here, it's gotta be Mayweather. I'm guessing a little under. I'm saying a little under 4 rounds, I should say. So a little less than you predicted. For some reason, I mean, he's been doubted for so long. Every single fight, there seems to be some sort of doubt against Mayweather. Although I'd love to see McGregor somehow pull the rabbit out of the hat here and just surprise everybody. But for his lack of experience versus Mayweather's 20 plus years of boxing experience, it's going to be tough to compete against that. So, I mean, going by the stats, it's got to be Mayweather, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, you're not alone there, but again, there's a fair share of people who think Conor has a shot. I certainly think that's possible. So we'll see. Regardless of the fight, I'll probably never see two promoters in the same fight like this in a long time again. So, enjoy what we're going to see in the coming weeks in terms of promoting the fight, because these guys are the abs.
Definitely. Without a doubt. I am looking forward to it, Brian. And again, thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening, okay?
Yeah, all the best. Thanks, Nico.
All right, Brian. So there you have it, guys. Brian Dailey, VP of Sports Digital Media at Showtime. He's in agreement with a lot of people, I believe. Floyd Mayweather will come out on top. Although it could just easily be McGregor if he gets a few punches in there. But again, the 10-ounce glove is going to be a major factor as well. Heavier than McGregor's used to. Harder to land punches, perhaps. And Mayweather, being as defensive as he is, he'll wait to find a spot. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm excited for it. Again, 37 days. Saturday, August 26th, 9 p.m. You can catch it on Showtime. $89.95 regular edition. If you pay the extra $10, you can watch it in HD. Get a bunch of people. Perhaps split the fee with 20 plus. Go to a bar. Whatever you got to do. Try to watch this fight because they don't come too often. As Brian said, two of the top promoters in the business. Mayweather Promotions as well. McGregor Promotions, his new company. A lot of money on the line, a lot of storylines. It's going to be a fun time. So it'll be here before you know it. But yeah, next Friday, July 28th, 10 p.m., going to be the first of 6 specials leading up to McGregor Mayweather, followed by Fight Week, as Brian mentioned. So be sure to check that out if you have Showtime. I believe it's going to be available on their website as well for select subscribers and people of that nature. So thanks to Brian, and thank you to everyone tuning in. Thank you to everyone who tuned in to episode 51. I appreciate the support. It's been a real pleasure. And we're going to keep going on a roll here. We're going to be back next week, Thursday night, July 27th, for episode 52 of the Nico Chronicles. I'll have some things brewing for you then. Perhaps the new NBA storylines, NFL news perhaps, baseball. Who knows? You're just going to have to tune in. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight to episode 51. We will talk very soon. Next week, or up sooner. But until then, guys, have yourselves a fabulous weekend. Or have yourselves a fabulous Thursday night, rather. Enjoy your weekends. And I will talk to you all soon.